Well, first of all, hi, and thank you so much for taking the time, even though it was probably not your plan today to do interviews. But how have you
Yeah.
been during these last couple of years?
Uh, well, that's a whole lot of time. That's considering everything that's happened. That's like, okay, where to start? Like 2019 was very good for Brymir in general. We just like had the Wings of Fire album out and everything was looking great. And then 2020 happened, and then things got a bit weird, and things have only gotten weirder since. Um, but well, I've been for the past couple of years for personally me. I've been. I definitely would say I have been luckier than like very many people. Like I had a steady job, and I had like for instance, Brymir as a band didn't like lose huge amounts of money. We didn't have like huge tours already booked and paid for that got cancelled or like stuff like that. So we were very lucky in that sense that it only sort of became a more of a disappointment of what could have been rather than like something getting actually cancelled. There were of course cancellations, like for instance our first trip to Spain and Portugal in the end of 2020. That sort of was really disappointing, but we didn't lose that much money due to that. So we've on the whole as a band and me personally have been quite lucky considering all the craziness that's been going on.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest thing that happened to you guys is that you signed to a bigger label. So congrats about that. And how did that deal come about? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
Uh, I'd say now that we've made that worldwide management deal with Master Events, they really like showed their chops there. That we were in a very nice. They put us in a very nice position to like look at offers from multiple labels and then just like pick and choose. Okay, these guys look the most promising, and yeah, we chose Napalm, and they had the best offer. And then now, as things have been rolling out, we've been very happy, and we're very excited about what's yet to come. The future looks promising.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stupid question, but do you really feel the difference in terms of your Spotify numbers and all that? You're signed to such a huge label now?
Well, we've started to feel it. There, for instance, we had like a couple of Spotify firsts. Like for instance, first time like we reached that 50,000 monthly listeners for first time. It might have come anyway. Who knows? But we are happy that it happened. And I think, well, the main thing that we've actually noticed, like now as I'm talking to you, is this whole like there's been so many more interviews, so much more media presence. So that's where they've really shown their chops in that sense. That well, okay, actually we get to like do this promotional work like full time. So that's a happy thing that's happened, and we were like sort of okay, where is this going to lead to? But yeah, you could say happy problems trying to find the time to do interviews.
Yeah, well, I guess you're still excited about it, I guess, because some
Yeah, not
people
not
don't really like
cynical and
it.
jaded. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
waiting for that. Maybe one day when we have like getting rich from all of this and everything, like then why bother? But now we're just like, ooh, hyped. Yeah, someone's interested.
this weekend I also saw you play at Dark River Festival, and I guess you've also had some other shows in Finland, at least during the summer. So how's that been going for you guys?
The shows have gone in general pretty great. We've had like great audiences and great like slots to play, like all like Dark River Festival main stage and the Saari Helvetti main stage. We uh, not that many festival shows because the sort of whole Corona thing was still going on, and with this new album we sort of got the singles out in a bit of a later time, that we didn't get to be at that many festivals in the Finnish festival season this year. But as the way things are looking, next year is going to be different, a bit more busy in that sense. But the shows that we've done this year have all been basically great. We're very happy to have done those, and they've gone pretty good.
Yeah, and you also played the new singles, I think, at Dark River Festival. So how did you like perceive the audience reaction to that from the stage?
Well, we're more than happy to play the new stuff. It's sort of funny how things go that you, as a musician, you start playing the like one album and then you sort of like play it through so many times, then you sort of get really excited, like, oh yeah, now we get to play new stuff again. This is like new for us as well now. But as far as the audience goes, I think it's all gone very well. The way I've looked at the reactions that people have had, like Voices in the Skies, sort of gets emotional for me when the audience gets emotional and starts singing along to the choir parts. And for instance, Herald of Aegir that we played at Dark River and Saari Helvetti has like shown itself to be quite a crowd pleaser. There's mosh pits going on and everything like that. People going crazy with the blast beats and the speed and everything. It's the reception has been very good.
Yeah, I think there's a few more moments like that on the new record where fans will go crazy and mosh pitty. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, what would you say is musically the biggest difference between Wings of Fire and the new album?
As far as if I'd have to put it to one thing, I think this album is more, you could say, like you can hear it also in the production values, but also in the songwriting process itself. It's like more of a guitar heavy album, you know, like proper, it's sort of more metal, you know, start with the guitars, end with the guitars, and then like add stuff on that. So in that way, because Victor, our main songwriter or singer, really like sort of took to heart this, that he started like playing stuff with the guitar first and then like started coming up with ideas. Well, as for instance on the Wings of Fire, there are a whole couple of songs there that like started with the keyboard or just like started programming something on the music softwares, and it's a completely different approach now. You can also sort of really hear it in the songs, that the riffs and the, like, you know, the guitar is front and center, you know, more metal.
Now, I know from the last album that Victor is, well, you just said Victor, the main songwriter, but was there sort of a similar process to with Wings in Fire, or did you guys change it up a little bit? Did you get more of a say in the songs?
I think like, well, due to the whole Corona thing, it was sort of really isolated, the whole process. And the reason why it took so long to like, we were thinking like, okay, we're gonna have the album out by 2021, but then the Corona thing happened and we thought, okay, this should only speed things up because we don't have shows to play, so that must mean that we have more time to focus on writing and producing and making more music. But actually the opposite thing happened, because, you know, for Victor, his main like sort of co-writing, or the person he throws his ideas at and gets feedback from, is Joona, and they do that like this wonderful chemistry with them, that it's so natural and flowing, but they are used to being in the same room when that happens, and now they couldn't do that, and they had to like throw musical ideas and demos, like basically like we're doing now, talking. So that's sort of took the oomph out of it. So it took a bit more longer time to do the whole thing. And but insofar as how much people had like this like inputs and everything, I think it's pretty similar to Wings of Fire. There's, for instance, my one song that's I basically written at the end, All as One, and I wrote the lyrics to that. But we like all basically had the sort of same thing, and then we just like looked at what sticks, what are good ideas, and there's this whole like process of then, okay, now we just skim the fat off the top and see like, okay, these are full songs ready, and then we just like put those on the album, and these fit together and these ideas fit together. So in a sense, I would say like if you think about the democratics of the band, it was pretty similar to the last one.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned that you wrote most of the last song. Well, I guess not the bonus track, but the one before that. But is there anything you can talk about related to that song specifically?
That's like a sort of, you could say it's a long story, because the song was originally intended, it was like written, its first version was written for the 2016 album, the Slayer of Gods album, as a closer for that one. And we didn't have quite the sort of things to put it all together and like produce it to that sort of fine edge. And now we've been mulling on the sort of on the song like already for the previous album as well, for like, okay, should we do this, or do we have like the fresh ideas to make it happen? and now it was like finally we got like, okay, now it fits, now everything works, and it sort of fits very well into the sort of soundscape of this album, and it had like this proper tone and proper tempo and tonality to end the album with. It's sort of similar, sort of weird in the sense that it's such an older song, but it fits so well into this album as a whole. I could like talk on and on about what's like in the lyrics and what does that thing mean and what does that mean, but that would like, okay, I want you to have some surprises at least, like, and make your own conclusions about those. But it's in, you could say like thematically, it's more in the Slayer of Gods sense that there's like this sort of layers of mythological symbolisms in there, like not just the surface level of what's actually being said, but yeah, there's things to pay attention to and like analyze in there.
Yeah, I know that. Well, for Slayer of Gods, I think you had like you wrote more lyrics than for Wings of Fire. But how is it now? Did you just like write the lyrics of that song, or were you involved with some other songs as well?
I did like do some proofreading. I like most this time, because it was so isolated, we didn't have like this such a like natural like back and forth between like all the band members. So Victor basically did most of the lyrics by himself, and then there was basically like, okay, yeah, can you proofread it? Does this sound stupid or something like that? But just making sure that there's like no weird mistakes everywhere. But Victor is a perfectly competent lyric writer, and there was very little for me to do on those songs that he had like basically finished from beginning to end by himself. But yeah, for Slayer of Gods I was more active, on Wings of Fire a bit less, and here it's I would say that it's mostly the All Is One album. It was just things like how things turned out and what seemed to be the best songs, best lyrics, and how much like input was needed in certain songs that ended up on the record. There was quite a nice process of there's been like actually pretty much material to choose from, and then we just like could just go like, okay, these are the best ones.
How much songs did you end up recording actually, or like going to the studio with? How much songs did you drop?
I have no idea how many Victor had. Like there were so many, and like I had a whole couple of demo songs that were just, okay, these just need more work and maybe we'll come back to them in the future. And it was like, if by minutes wise, I think there would have been like material for another album as far as it goes, but then it would have been like compressed anyway. So I don't know how much, but still it was sort of we finally were in a position that there are all these kinds of ideas, just about choosing which ones are the best ones.
Do you feel like maybe the pandemic also had some sort of an influence on maybe even the recording process? Like, did you feel like you could put your emotions into playing bass?
Sure. The bass recordings actually happen quite late in the album process, so you can do quite a bit of it like up until the end, until you want to actually record them, so you can have the whole for instance, if they're usually you want to have like the guitarists have the most freedom to like, okay, this now sounds the best thing, we could go with that, so you don't want to like lock the bass in too quickly in the process. So I don't think like the pandemic really affected the playing of the bass, but there was like there was a whole different, because then the war in Ukraine happened, and it was a bit of a downer time for us all, and you could say I wouldn't say it exactly helped in any way, but as far as, for instance, the final group shouts and roars that we like did as a band on the album did definitely have more aggression to them because of the whole horribleness of the war.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, there's also a song, Borderland, which includes a poem by some Ukrainian poet that I don't remember the name of. Was that sort of around the same time you came up with that idea that the war started there, or is that something coincidentally that you thought of before?
The Taras Shevchenko, the Poemland, the whole thing, that like the Borderland song in itself, basically the song started as being about also about war, but from a a bit different. But then the war happened, and Victor really went into, okay, I can think of anything else about now, so I have to like redo the lyrics and do it about this, because Slava Ukraine, and all the support we can give them is more than deserved. So in that sense, we had it was like we were in a creative space where it's like, okay, we have to do something. We can't like ignore this. We have to have like, there's basically, you could say, for me, as I look at the album now, starting from the sort of the halfway point of the album, it like starts going into this more war idea. Like there's the landfall, borderland, far from home, and seeds of downfall. You could think like basically that sort of starts this like war side of the album, and it's impossible for me not to think about the Ukraine thing when I'm listening to that album, and it makes it sort of especially emotional for me to like think like, okay, what's it gonna be like playing these songs live, because they're so obviously about the horrible stuff that we have to witness in our time in Europe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's also sounds a little bit more towards the end, like you have all the heavy tracks and then maybe more folky tracks in the beginning, but towards the end it also becomes a little bit more dark, I would say, and then it also ends with a bonus track, which is a cover. Now I was wondering who came up with the idea to do a Dark Funeral cover.
We've been thinking about it for a long time. We all love Dark Funeral, like ever since basically that was sort of the initial bonding thing with when Patrick Felt, our current drummer, joined us in 2013. That we wanted to take the band into this more blast beat heavy, faster, more aggressive direction. And we sort of bonded over the fact that we like really love like Dark Funeral, like this extremeness of it. And in the sense, the final bonus track, well, it like came into this like, okay, we can do this, and we want to like show this like really raw, total aggression of like having like with like this fun energy of like letting it go and just like roar at the whole world and be as evil, as fast and totally go full on out. It was really fun and cathartic to do that, and we've been thinking about doing it for a long time. So
yeah, are you planning to play that live someday?
We'll see. I have no idea, no doubt that Patrick would be very happy to show his chops.
Yeah,
well, he does play in Feastem, and if you've checked them out ever, it's like
yeah. Yeah, that guy is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I also thought it was really cool that I noticed that Antti Nieminen, who's your live guitarist, was also included in some way in the new tracks. I'm not sure if he's ever been involved in like any of the albums, but was it somehow important for you guys to also involve him a bit in the process?
It was. I don't know if it sort of came so naturally. It was just that he's a great singer. We might argue that he might be technically the best clean singer in the band, but the whole the way he sings in Far From Home is like, we were struggling with that song production wise for a while, about okay, how are we going to do this? How are the lyrics gonna go? How are the vocals gonna go? There was this production issue of how do we make it sound believable? And then Victor just asked Antti to come in and do this high pitched stuff that sounds so ethereal and nice. And it was okay, now it fits. Now we were so worried that we'd have to drop it from the album, and now it's done. But Antti has done quite a lot beforehand. For instance, he sung choirs on the Slayer of Gods album and stuff like that. But now he actually got this really good showcase place of actually singing his job, showing his skills in a more proper way. And I think we're very, very happy with that. And that we're lucky for us as well that things turned out the way they did.
Now, I also noticed that there was a Dark River Fest, I think Victor introduced a song as fish metal, and me and my friend were sort of confused, did he say Finnish metal or fish metal? But then I realized that there is a song about fish, I guess, and it's a bit more political than the rest, I would say. But do you feel like those sorts of themes in music are becoming more important as, you know, the world gets more fucked up?
Well, I think those themes, if you like, they're always going to be important because, you know, environmentalism for the ever since the Industrial Revolution has been sort of, we could have done at all times a bit better. And it's there. I don't think there are really that many, like that much new themes to us. For instance, 2011's Breathe Fire to the Sun has very much of these like climate change themes, overarching themes that are there, and pollution and stuff like that. But now more than ever, I think now we see all the horribleness. It's becoming more and more acute. So of course that's gonna affect the art that people make, because things are getting the way things are fucked up will show in the art of the time. Like it's very natural.
Now you are also joining Fintroll, I think, on their European tour. Is that the longest tour you guys done outside of Finland?
Definitely, basically the longest tour in general that we've done. Yeah. You don't play 39 shows in Finland. You run out of places to play. And then you have to start thinking, okay, which pizzeria were we gonna play next? But that's in November, December with Fintroll and Skalmelody. We're really looking forward on how what's that gonna be like. You know, 39 days, 39 shows, no breaks, just full on blasting. That's gonna be quite an ordeal, but most likely a very rewarding ordeal. And it's like basically finally we get to go out there. We get to like this is what we've been waiting for. We had like some initial little bits like here and there. We've been to Japan twice for a couple of days each time, and then we had like a five show tour with Battle Beast in 2019. But this is like on a completely different level. This is like an actual proper tour, and well, some people would say it's like this is an insanely long tour to do in one sitting, just like 39 days, 39 shows, no breaks. So in that sense, we're starting it big, and we'll see how it goes. But most likely it will be awesome. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, you're playing also in some like pretty big like club venues in all over Europe. So that's pretty cool to maybe visit some places that you haven't been to even as a guest. So
yeah, and it's also I would say the bands that we're touring with is very much like a sort of match made in heaven, in the sense that of course Fintroll, as when they started it with Jattensteed and everything, were like huge influences on us as when we were like teenagers. So this is very exciting. But you could also say that this is sort of our crowd, that this is our like audience that we want to show ourselves to. So this is finally a good way to also showcase our stuff to a very potential audience. And so we're looking forward to, like, you know, showing our faces and hopefully winning over some hearts.
I also noticed that you just announced your Laureline show at Tavastia. So is there anything that fans can expect from that show here in Finland?
We're definitely working on to make it something special. I have very few details to give yet, but it's gonna be something bigger, better, stronger, faster. Because the venue, and like for us to headline that place, has been this is like some, like, you know, stakes are getting higher, things are getting bigger, and so we're definitely gonna try to up the ante in like the whole show and production and whatever is gonna be happening. We have quite a few ideas. We'll see how the end product's gonna be, but it's something you don't want to miss.
Yeah, well, I was planning to go anyway, so yeah, I think that's it for my questions. Oh, and our time is almost up. Anyway, do you have any last thoughts you want to share with your fans or people who haven't heard about Brymir yet?
Well, if you've ever wondered what it would be like if Finnish melodic death metal meets all kinds of extreme metal elements, put in something like power metal, put in everything, and have it like be produced by Victor Gulliksen, who is one of the best metal producers in Finland, in my opinion, at the moment, check us out. You won't be disappointed. Haven't heard many complaints yet.